I'm in Valdosta, Georgia, and this is the Martin Luther King corridor. We have monuments here concerning the birth, the early life, college education and spiritual growth, his marriage, civil rights movement, and other great historical accounts of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. This beautiful area is dedicated to a great civil rights leader and humanitarian, not only for black folk, but for all people of all nationalities he stood. And so, just to have a ceremony once a year in honor of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. serves absolutely no purpose at all. In order to follow the dream of Dr. King, we must be at the work that Dr. King did. So I just want to say on this clip, get ready for a series of videos about voting rights over in Quitman, Georgia, in the county of Brooks, and in the state of Georgia. 10 people were arrested for alleged voter fraud. You may not know nothing about that, but it is worthy to be reported as the Little Rock 9. It is worthy to be reported at any other newsworthy incident or issue in this nation. Yet, the Quitman Free Press, the Valdosta Daily Times, television stations and others, in my most humbled opinion, has ill-served the people here in South Georgia, the state of Georgia, the United States, and around the world. If you Google Quitman 10, you will find information that should have been published, such as when they were arrested, the manner in which they were arrested. It never been mentioned that for the first time in the history of Brooks County, blacks control the Brooks County Board of Education. They don't mention in your mainstream media about the Quitman 10 that most all of the 12 are outstanding citizens. Many of them have college degrees. Dr. Nancy Denner possesses a doctorate degree. Diane Thomas is on the road marching to get her doctorate degree. But they don't publish that in the paper. They don't talk about these career-minded people. They just paint them as criminals. And I'm sad to say it, because I'm from Brooks County. I'm a retired military veteran. So as you look at the next clips, you will see information that the mainstream media probably don't want you to know. And ask yourself a question. If they respect and want voting rights in this country, why is it that CNN, ABC, NBC, MSNBC have not picked up on what's going on in a little country town just 18 miles away called Quitman? Now, Nathan Deal issued an executive order, which you're going to hear in the next clip, so I'm not going to get on that. We know that since the election of President Barack Obama, the 44th president of these United States, he's criticized and condemned more than any president in the history of America. Don't take my word for it now. Just check the archival record. Even when blacks were denied the right to travel from place to place, eat in restaurants of their choosing, unqualified to use the bathroom, unqualified to assemble in groups of more than 5 by law. By law. Yet where was the Tea Party? Nobody talked about violating or shredding the Constitution when blacks could not own a gun, could not maintain their own black sons that had muscles. They move him off to another plantation. Nobody talked about the shredding of the Constitution. Now you're talking about a birth certificate. How many other presidents have had to show a birth certificate? And now in the state of Georgia, just to get a driver's license, you gotta have two bills and show where you live. And to get, y'all better wake up. I'm gonna cut this clip. This is an introduction to what you're about to see. I'm in Valdosta, but I'm on my way to Quitman, Georgia, because I want you informed. I want you to know what the Quitman Free Press will not report. I want you to know that those who write in the paper, they write of a conservative viewpoint, and there are no opposition to what they write. There's not a columnist to tell, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. You're gonna find in the next clips the executive order that Nathan Deal issued to remove the person who the people elected to represent them. You're gonna hear, and you're gonna get information about this newsletter that are floating in stores, flash food stores. You can get a copy of this newsletter, negative of the Quitman 10, and no signature, no phone number, no email address on this flyer or this newsletter. So who will be responsible for the content of it? Or how can you contact the person who wrote it? It is indeed a disgrace. You will find that on YouTube in a couple of days. And I'm gonna do it because I love you just that much. I want you to have the truth. I don't want you deaf, dumb, and blind to the times and unable to make intelligent decisions based on facts. You're also gonna hear something about the Georgia law, wherein, to my understanding, the next 2 or 3 weeks, in my opinion, the way I understand this, I'm at least of average intelligence, if the Quitman 10 have not gone to trial, I think there's a possibility that Governor Deal executive order need to be terminated so these people can take their position and get back to doing the work that they're voted, that the citizens in their community and their relatives voted to continue on their behalf under our form of government. This is another copy of Nathan Deal where he signed off on to appoint a committee to study what we already knew, and that was to remove 3 people from the Brooks County Board of Education because somebody didn't want them there outside of the will of the majority of the people. That's another signature of Republican Governor Nathan Deal. So this is an introduction. You're going to get in other introductions. You may ask me, say, Brother Rhymes, you don't report like other professional news reporters. I'm not a news reporter. I'm just a citizen who would love in our form of government and want to see a change and know that change is not going to come unless we change. And we got to change the mindset of start being scared as hell and start doing what needs to be done, or we're going to lose this republic. And if I could put my life on the line for over 20 years and go and fight for this nation and give the ultimate sacrifice, or be willing to give the ultimate sacrifice, then you know I ought to be able to fight for my own mama, father, sisters, and brothers here in the homeland of the United States of America. So why should I fight in foreign countries and can't fight here at home to bring about a better world? Listen to the next few clips concerning the Quitman 10 +2. And I want to say to the Quitman 10, you are our hero and sheroes of Brooks County. And I want to thank Representative Tyrone Brooks, the late Senator Robert Brown, Mr. Lucas, representative, been in the General Assembly for 37 years, Helen, the members of Gabio, the president of the NAACP, National and State of Georgia Conference President Edward DuBose. I want to thank SCLC President Marstella. I want to thank Attorney Mathis out of Atlanta from the Rainbow Push Coalition, who have stood with the Quitman 10 from day one. We thank you for your support. The women group and other groups that I can't remember, the Coalition for Peace, the Joseph Lowry people, People's Agenda, and I can't name them all. We want to thank the Honorable Reverend Joseph Lowry for coming to Quitman to highlight that Republican Governor Nathan Deal gave the people of Brooks County a bad deal. And I agree that we was issued and given a bad deal. But one thing we must also remember, you must also remember the week of terror in Brooks County, called the Week of Terror, when 13 to 20 people were murdered outright and nothing was done about it. You don't see Mr. Herring in the Whitman Free Press talking about that. But it is a matter of record. Nor is anybody talking about other deaths that have never been resolved in the Brooks County area. And we are going to do what the founding fathers wanted us to do, and that is to keep you informed. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and our right to know is some things that should not be erased from the American landscape, because too many of our sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends and enemies have given the ultimate sacrifice for the United States of America to be a free country. And we thank you. Now sit back and enjoy the other clips about the Whitmantian and voting rights in the United States of America since our president took office. Once again, bye-bye. We're gone.